Hi Flosstube, I'm Tamara. I'm the PD Stitcher, and this is Flosstube number 2. Hopefully this week will be a little less awkward than last week's Flosstube number 1. I have one of my girls who is my techie person who I go to, and she said last week's was just a little tiny bit awkward, so I promised her I'd try and do a little better this week. She also informed me that people who subscribe to a YouTube channel, they don't follow, and so I told her I'd correct that too. So thank you for all of you who subscribed, and I hope that this week you'll like some of the projects that I'm working on, and I have a couple of questions that maybe y'all can help me out with a couple of things that I'm working on. So this past week we started school, and like I said, we homeschool, so a lot of my extra free time to stitch got taken up with helping the girls with their schoolwork, which is fine because that's kind of my main priority, but I didn't get as much stitching done. So, but I do have a couple of things I have been working on. The first thing is I worked on my Santas from Leisure Arts. I'm working on these, and I worked mostly on that one, the Santa with candle, last week, and I added all of the metallic glitter and all of the back stitch on this half. So all that's left for this Santa is the back stitch on his face and this half of him. So I'm very excited about that. And then as you can see, I've got a little bit more work to do on a couple of the other Santas that are hiding behind my Q-snap. So that was my first thing that I worked on last week. And then I also worked on, for my Magical Stitches, for my School of Magical Stitches homework, the assignment was a project that we've either quit or have wanted to quit. And for me, that is my Clemson University Tigers. Mostly because, like I said last week, I made the decision to stitch this 1/1. I'm really not sure that I'm liking 1/1, but I committed so far to this project and I'm not changing it now. But it does make it really hard to focus on. So this is what I got done. I got 1,000 stitches put in it this week from here over. So I started getting kind of the main part of the face mask in here done. That's where it connects to the helmet, and you can see the helmet. And one thing I found is that all of this purple blue color on this part was supposed to be black. All of this was supposed to be black, and I've made it purple. So I'm hoping it will end up looking good when I finish the whole thing and I've changed the parts that are black to purple. And we'll see when I'm done, but at the moment it's not looking bad. You can tell where the helmet is supposed to be, what the parts of the helmet are supposed to be, so hopefully it'll all work out in the end. So those were my 2 whips. Like I said, I didn't get a lot of stitching done last week. That was pretty much it. But I did get some haul. So a couple weeks ago, I woke up and I wasn't really feeling good and just kind of felt bleh all day. So I decided I would pick up my spirits, even though I wasn't feeling well health-wise. I would at least pick up my emotional spirits by going shopping online. So I went to Fat Quarter Shop and purchased the entire set of the Glitter Village patterns. So hoping, I don't want to pull them all out. I should have done that before I started, if I can avoid much of the glare. So my plans for these, I've seen it done as the whole village, but I think I'm going to stitch all these individually like they are on the pattern on the chart, and make them into ornaments. You know, I have 5 children, so I thought I would make each of them their own set. And I told them that I would let them choose the colors because not all of them are into the pastels. So I may end up doing some with a different color palette for them. We'll see. So if you were doing Glitter Village and you weren't going to do them in pastels, what palette would you choose? That's the first thing. Second thing, my birthday is coming up at the end of this month, and I am going to work on the Glitter Village, at least one of them, as my birthday start. So I was going to plan a birthday stitch along that I'd like y'all to join me for if you'd like. You don't have to do Glitter Village. If you have, I know a lot of you are probably like me, you're going to start getting ready for Christmas stuff. If you're working on a Santa's Village piece or a Gingerbread Village piece or the new Country Cottage Needleworks Snow People Village that looks like it's coming out soon. If you're going to be working on one of those, I'd love for you to join me. We're going to do #VillageSal, Village SAL, as the hashtag for Instagram, so we can share our progress on our different villages starting at the end of August. And then I had to get some metallic threads for the back stitch and the stocking that I'm working on, and I'll show you all that in a little bit. So I got from 123 Stitch, I ordered the gunmetal gray and dark brown rainbow blending thread. So those will be for the stocking. And then I couldn't let those two threads travel alone from 123 Stitch, so I bought a chart that's been in my brain that I've wanted, the Summer Signs by Tiny Modernist. And with these, I'm thinking about changing the borders. I think it's a lot of salmon. I like the salmon, but I want to make these for my husband, and they're a little pink for me to make them for him. So I'm thinking about changing the borders to one of the blues from the Waves. And then also, I'm not a big fan of this moss green color. So I'm trying to decide what to change that green to. I know it needs to be a green, I'm just not sure what color green. So if you have any suggestions for what color green you think would be a good swap out for the greens in Summer Signs, comment below, please. I could use your help. All right, so this week, we've already gotten our homework for magical stitches for this coming week that we can start tomorrow morning. And we're supposed to it's time to take our owls in our Harry Potter series. And so we're supposed to work on things that would pertain to the owls that we're taking. So each of these 10 go with one owl. So there's 7 main and then 3 electives. So the first one is I'm going to go back to the Clemson University Tigers piece and do hopefully 200 stitches, and that's for the Muggle Studies owl. I'm going to say that we're studying how the Muggles play football. They don't play Quidditch like the Wizards do, and so that was part of their Muggle Studies, was learning about football. And the homework assignment, like I said, there's 10 different owls, and we're supposed to put in 100 stitches if we want to get an E, or 200 stitches to get an O. So my goal is to get 10 O's, which would be 2,000 stitches this week. We'll see, because getting 1,000 last week was difficult, so we'll see. And then the second one is the Harry Potter with owl. I'm going to use for astronomy and for history of magic. So, can you see the whole thing? So for astronomy, because there's a lot of the sky. And then for history of magic, how they used owls we learned in History of Magic how they used owls to take letters and how that became an important form of communication for wizards. And then the next one is the Charms owl. And for that one, I'm using the Beauty, which is all, the next few are all from a magical Sal that I did through creatively crafting. Yes. She created this magical Sal that I've been a part of for the last few months, and all of these patterns came from her, and I absolutely love them, except for the metallic threads. I'm learning to like them a little bit more. But there's a lot of metallic threads, and I've learned to stitch on black. So the first one I'm using is for Charms is the Beauty. Let me hold this behind it so you can see. And I'm going to say that this rose was enchanted with a charm, because as we know in Beauty and the Beast, the rose was enchanted. So that will be my Charms owl, will be the Beauty. And then for Transfiguration, I'm going to use the Magical Mermaid, because she transformed from a mermaid to a human. So she transfigured, And you can see I'm in the middle of a green, and it's attached to, I've got a long string coming out. Hopefully I'll get that one where it needs to be soon. But this will be what I'm using for transfiguration, is the Magical Mermaid, and that's also from Creatively Crafting. And I'm really, really bad about, or I was really, really bad about writing what type of fabric and what size. So I have no idea for the black fabric. I know the Christmas Santas are on 18 count Aida. And Harry Potter is also on 18 count Aida. And then for Defense Against the Dark Arts, I'm going to go with the Queen of Hearts, because the best defense against the dark arts is love, and she has this heart. And then for the Study of Ancient Runes, I'm going to use the Dragon Princess, and there's a part of this pattern that's some different motifs that go here and here that I'll probably work on this week for that. And so they look like they would be part of Ancient Runes. And then let me look at my notes, because I can't remember all 10 off the top of my head. Okay, the next one is the Giver of the Red Apple that I'm using for divination, because the Giver of the Red Apple was the queen who used the magic mirror to see what was going on with Snow White. And I'm hoping to get this part of her dress done this week. And then the last one I'm going to work on this week, I'm going to use for 2 different owls, and that's herbology and potions. And I'm using the stocking that I'm making for my husband. Get back far enough so you can see the whole thing. And all that's left in here is the back stitching, and so I'm going to use the metallic thread. The gunmetal gray the brown goes here, and that's supposed to look like barbed wire, and then the gunmetal gray is coming off of the lantern to look like the handle, I guess. And then I have this antler and some more of the deer that needs to be back stitched, and then this little chipmunk or squirrel, and then these 2 birds, and then this piece will be done. So I'm really hoping that with the 2 owls that I'm working on for this, that would be 400 stitches, and I'm hoping that I will finish this week. We will see. And then, because I can't start on the homework until tomorrow morning, I have to have something to stitch on. Today is Sunday, so I need something to stitch on the rest of today. And I'm going to be working on Angel of Freedom by Lavender and Lace. And this one I do know, I started writing down what fabric I was using. This is on 32 count Sweet Pea Belfast linen. And so this is how much I've gotten done. So we'll see how much I can get done today before I start working on everything else tomorrow. And this, I was hoping to do a floss tube once a week. However, I don't know if I'm going to get one next week, because next week my youngest is playing in a soccer tournament, and we're going to be out of town for the tournament. She and I are going up there, and we'll see what time we get home. If they win, they'll play in the finals late afternoon Sunday. If they lose, they'll be done earlier Sunday morning, and I can come back home. But if they're in the finals, it's not till later afternoon Sunday, and then we'll have a decent drive home. So I don't know if I'll have time next week to do one. And then the weekend after that is my birthday weekend. So I will have a video at least then. So if I don't have a video next week, I will have one the weekend after. And I'll share my birthday start, and we'll talk a little bit more about the village sow. And like I said, if you have any suggestions for the summer signs on what green to use for this, please comment below. If you want to be a part of the village sow, comment below. Let me know what village you're going to be working on. I want to give a couple of shout outs to some other Flosstubers that I just really am enjoying. Crafty Peacock is a new Flosstuber. She also started her Flosstube channel last weekend, the same day I did, and she she was so nervous and so funny, and I absolutely loved watching her first one, so I can't wait to see the rest of what she is going to be sharing. And then Lisa's Stitching and Such, she is such a beautiful stitcher. Her work is absolutely gorgeous, and a lot of the things she likes to stitch are things that just really appeal to me, and her work, like I said, is absolutely beautiful. She's got several Heaven and Earth designs that she's working on, and I'm very jealous because I've always wanted to start a Heaven and Earth design, but I'm afraid to, so I don't know. I've asked for a couple of Heaven and Earth design patterns for my birthday. We'll see if I get them, and if I do, if I start them anytime soon, we'll see. And then the last one is Mischievous Stitchers. She recently did, she was part of a collaboration that did a focus on fibers, and she talked about classic colorworks, and I've really been interested in classic colorworks. I've not gotten any of the over-dyed, hand-dyed fibers yet, and that was one that really has intrigued me, and I'm interested in starting to work with those. So I was very interested in her Flosstube video on the classic colorworks. So, well, that was it for this week, and I'm hoping that the next time I see you all, I will have a couple of finished objects, maybe not fully finished, but finished, and probably more haul, and you know, I definitely will have many whips to show you between now and then, between the homework for this week and whatever the homework will be for the week after that, if I don't see you all next weekend. So, thank you, Flosstube. If you want to subscribe, click subscribe below, and click the bell so that you can get notifications of when I post a video. So if I do post one next weekend, you can get notified. And you can follow me on Instagram at PD Stitcher. So have a great afternoon. For those of you who will see this afternoon, I'm hoping it will post quickly. Last time I struggled getting it to upload, so it took me a long time. We'll see how it does today, but hopefully it'll be up sometime this afternoon, Sunday afternoon. And I'll see you all either next week or the week after. Bye, Flosstube.